Got a question for you. Can fear be productive? My answer is in the affirmative, and in this video I'm going to talk about 3 things to prove this exactly is so. Because in almost all the self-help, well, let me explain myself a little bit first. I'm Bryan. I'm the author of a book called How to Conquer Yourself. And what I found in that in almost all the self-help, people are constantly dissing fear. Like all the experts, gurus, and consultants, even me sometimes, we're talking about overcoming fear. We talk about how fear is an illusion, the 10 steps to eliminate fear for good, etc. As if it's like, public enemy number 1. But just the other day, it occurred to me that most of us never think about how fear can actually work in our favor. That there are a few ways in which fear can make us more driven, more ambitious, more creative, and more efficient without us even being aware of the fact. So in this video, we'll cover 3 instances where this is so. 3 instances where being afraid of something ultimately led people I know to more productivity and success than they would otherwise obtain. Let's get straight into it. So productive fear number 1 is ending up just like what's-her-face. So every productive person I know has someone they work with, maybe someone they went to school with, or someone in their family, or all 3 and then some, that's the direct opposite of whatever they're aspiring towards, and that person motivates them in reverse. 50 Cent once said, damn, homie, in high school you was the man, homie. What the F happened to you? And just about every ambitious person I know can relate. Seriously though, every productive, on-point person I've met has someone that they reverse engineer motivation out of that bad example. Like they're virtually scared of what'll happen to them if they don't pull up their shoes. So I ask you the same question. Who's your nightmare motivator? Like take a look at how they talk, take a look at how they carry themselves, how they think, how they behave, and then simply do the direct opposite. Productive thing number 2 is being dependent. And what I mean by that is that on a deeper note, a lot of productive people and accomplished people, they're also afraid of being dependent or controlled by someone else to take care of them. Like if you listen closely, you hear a lot of focused people saying things like, I just don't want anybody else to control me. Now this might sound negative, but remember that this fear usually comes from a direct, real experience of what being controlled looks like and feels like on a day-to-day basis. These people are motivated to not go back to something destructive that they're already intimately familiar with. It's called wisdom. So me, I don't judge anybody, and although I don't have a direct experience of being controlled like that, I know the power of learning from people's mistakes, and I suggest you do the same. Productive fear number 3 is staying the same. And this one really applies to me the most of all. Like productive people are afraid of, saying things like, I don't want to look down the road and after 10 years still be making tacos and playing video games with Norbert and Winston. Like when I was in high school, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life going to parties and chasing girls because it felt pointless. And when I was in college, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life going to activist meetings and organizing protests because it felt very futile and victimizing. And to be honest, now that I'm here, I don't want to spend the rest of my life blogging either. It feels good, it's cool, but I also feel like there has to be some greater calling for me as well. So maybe it all boils down to a fear of being trapped. Like I want to have new talents and skills, not just be a writer. And I want to travel and see the world, not just live and die here in America. All I can say is that once I begin to master something, I get scared that mastery will become the circumference of my life experience. So I start channeling my energies in a new direction. So take a second to think about all of this. Like if any of it makes you go, Bryan, these fears really stem from being critical of others, or maybe they just have trust issues from childhood. So they need to dissolve their ego into universal cosmic non-beingness. Remember, the bottom line is that these people are out there doing their thing. Like I know people doing all types of creative, magnificent stuff to re-engineer their lives or get themselves and their family in a better situation. So take it as you want, but the older I get, the more results-oriented and less ethics concerned my thinking becomes. So I have nothing but support for people like the ones we've just described. My main point here, though, is that productive people are simply afraid of the things unproductive people are content with. To me, they're not necessarily better or more talented, but their fears often drive their behavior down alternate routes or alternate patterns and what have you. So subscribe and leave a guy some comments in the comment section. Like, which of the productive fears resonate with you most? Are there any other things that you're afraid of that help you to stay focused? And if so, describe them. Contacts and resources. Here's my email, bryan@dotheknowledge.com. I also have an office line. Like, no matter what you see from me online, I'm a regular dude. You could just hit me up whenever. I'm pretty much here for you. And on my site, dotheknowledge.com, you can get 2 free chapters of the book that I mentioned early on, How to Conquer Yourself. I give free chapters out so people get a sense of like my writing style, my teaching style before they invest in it. You'll see something on the right sidebar of the blog to say enter your email now for free chapters, and that's the link. So just use that. Again, hope this helps. And remember, fear can be good for you if it motivates you in a constructive direction. Don't psychoanalyze fear. Don't try to theoretically eliminate it from your character. Instead, work on developing yourself from the bottom up and utilizing whatever it is that drives you to your personal benefit. Thanks again, and take care.